Hello, and welcome again. Many years back, I recall an incident where I was walking along in the church compound and I overheard, so to say, a few young children talking among themselves. And one of them goes, "It is so hard to be a good Catholic." All right. Now, I do not know what caused this child to say that, all right? Maybe it was her parents who were insisting that she sits every day for the family prayer, say the rosary, etc. A good thing, of course, no doubt about it. Maybe get up every Sunday early, when it's a school holiday and go for Mass and so on. Maybe it was the catechism teacher trying to emphasize certain, very important Catholic points and so on. Maybe it was the sermons that the child was hearing in the church, whatever it was. But her view was that it is so very difficult to be a good Catholic. Now, in this video, I would like to dedicate and talk to such young children, about is it really so very difficult to be a good Catholic? Because in my strong opinion, we adults always tend to complicate things, all right? Things that are very simple, we make it very complicated, right? We are very intelligent, we are very knowledgeable, therefore we bring in so many points into certain things and make life, make religion complicated, right? But the children, they are so pure-hearted, they are so innocent, they are so wonderful, right? They are so full of love and light, and they could be seeing it from a different perspective. As they grow along, they'll definitely pick up more and more ideas, thoughts, develop it for themselves, read, research, and so on. But as they grow along, it would be so nice if they keep things simple and keep learning along the way, right? Right from what God tells them as they grow along. So here is what is, my response to the child who said, "It's so difficult to be a good Catholic." I would say actually that, it's not at all that difficult to be a good Catholic. Right now, don't raise your eyebrows, especially the grown-ups. I know you are, you're a fabulous Catholic, maybe, hopefully, and you observe all the good things and the commandments and so on. And of course, I'm by no ways demeaning that, right? Yes, my answer to that child is this. Do observe everything that the church says, that the Bible says, that your catechism teachers say, that your parents say, that your peers say, that the priest says, right? Go for Mass regularly, especially on days of obligation. Learn the commandments well and always follow that, and all those things. Definitely you have to go through all that. You have to do that, But beyond that, how can you ensure, just by a few simple things, how do you ensure that you will be a good Catholic, okay? And I would present before you just 4 points, all right? Just 4 points, okay? And keep it simple, let's say, okay? The first one is love, all right? As the commandment goes, love one another as I have loved you, all right? Now, that sort of encompasses so much of our religion, so much of what Jesus taught, all right? Love one another as I have loved you. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love your neighbor the real Christian way, the real Catholic way. What does that mean, right? Oftentimes, we love somebody else conditionally. Oftentimes, we love people expecting something back from them, all right? It's like, if you do the things I like, I'm going to be loving you. If you don't disagree with me at all on everything I say, I promise I love you always, right? If you do this, I will love you. If you do that, I love you. which means if you don't, well, then don't expect me to love you, right? But that's not Christian love. That's not what Jesus teaches us to do. That's not how he loved us. He loved us the way we are, right? The way we are, okay? So that's the first thing, right? Love people around you the way you love yourself, the way Jesus taught us to love, unconditionally, without any expectations, the real Christian way, right? Now, this, if you observe, is so very natural, so very easy when we are children, when we are youngsters, right? But as we grow along, as life takes over, its busy schedules, and throws in its challenges and so on, we tend to forget this very important thing and then start putting conditions and expectations from each other, and in other words, for the love that we have for one another, all right? So be very comfortable with this as you grow along, from your young age, trying to love one another, without any conditions and expectations. You will find that this will become second nature to you, right? You don't have to think about it as you grow. It becomes just second nature, right? So this is the first and foremost that I would recommend in your path to being a good Catholic. The second thing is this: do not judge, right? Now, in this world, we come across so many situations where people have different thoughts, people have different perspectives, people have different living conditions, different from us. So it's very natural that we judge them as wrong. We judge them as bad. Now that is not what we are called to do, right? Because it is said that the way God judges and the way man judges are entirely two different things, right? And it's not for us to judge one another, right? So what I would ask you is, when you see your classmate, for example, right, always being grouchy, always making trouble, being messy, whatever, right? Picking up a fight every now and then, do not judge. If your teacher is showing favoritism towards somebody, do not judge. Perhaps you are a child, with parents who have had a split, right, a broken marriage, and you're probably living with one of the parents. Do not judge, either parent, right? For you know not what challenges they are going through in life, what are the, battles they're fighting every day, right? Yes, you can pray for them, but, do not judge, right? It's a very important thing. So love everybody unconditionally. Do not judge anybody. And again, it becomes so easy for you to do this all your life when you start practicing this from the time you're so young, so pure in heart. Trust me, it's going to be easy if you start doing it today, right? And the third thing is, this is something that's one of my parish priests told me when I was a little kid, and it has stuck with me always. And here's what he said. He said, look, Joe, there is somebody out there who's probably looking up to you as a role model. All right, maybe somebody elder, maybe somebody younger, we don't know. Maybe one person, maybe 20 people, we don't know. Maybe nobody, right? But chances are there could be at least one person who could be looking up to you as a role model and says, if Joe does it, it should be good. I can do that too, right? And he says, look, whatever you do, just keep in mind that should not become a bad example for that person who might be following you as a role model. Now this was in response to, my question to him about, can I do something like this? Can I do this? Can I do that, right? I was very young, probably in the 7th grade or something like that, and this is what he said to me, and it struck with me all through my life till today, right? He says, there is somebody there who's looking up to you as a role model and trying to follow what you do and try to avoid what you do not do, right? And therefore, when you lead your life, just bear in mind that you could be either influencing those people in the right direction or in the wrong direction. So think twice about whatever you do before you do, so that you help others, right, to follow the right path. And I dare say that this particular advice has also helped me along my Catholic life, right? And finally, my friends, finally, dear children, Here is my fourth point to you as a point of suggestion. Each one of us is like a radio receiver, okay? Now, if you've been, traveling by car, along with your dad or mom, let's say for 100 kilometers, on a picnic maybe. Now, what happens is when you start from your home, you put on the radio for a particular channel, all right? And the music is coming so beautifully. Now, as you go further and further, 50, 60 miles and so on, what happens is there is a disturbance. There is a disturbance, right? Whatever is singing or the news that is coming on the radio channel is not clear. We have to strain ourselves. There's so much of disturbance. There's so much of residual noise, a side noise over there. And then what your parent does is they change the tuner setting to something, to a station which is closer to where you are at that time, right? The local radio station. And then what happens? Immediately the disturbance goes away and you start listening, you start receiving the music loud and clear, absolutely again, right? Now this is what happens in life. We are all like a radio receiver, all right? Where we can listen and we can hear God speaking to us, all right? But what we do is we tend to let our minds wander so much, even in prayer, that we find it very difficult to listen to what God is saying. Let me give you an example. Like if you go to your dad and say, "Dad, when you're coming back from office, can you get me a lollipop?" It's as simple as that, right? And Dada says, "Sure, sweetheart." The matter's ended, right? But if you've not heard him say, "Sure, sweetheart," you're going to be talking about it again and again. "Dad, do you hear me? I want you to get me a lollipop today." "Oh my God, what will I do with this Dada? He's not listening to me." "Dad, please, 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 okay? Get me one lollipop." Now he's getting into the car. "Yorombono, get me one lollipop, okay?" Now, really, if you've heard him say, after you've told him, "Get me a lollipop, please," if you've paused and listened to him for a moment, you would have heard him responding to you saying, "Sure, my child," right? "The lollipop is yours. I'll definitely bring it for you when I come back." But if you let your mind wander, right? And if you don't focus on what he's telling you, then you're going to be totally neglecting, totally, disregarding what he's saying and keeping on going on with your things, right? So it's very natural. It's very easy to fall into such things where we get diverted, where our mind, the monkey as it is called, right, thinks about a dozen different things at the same time, right? And we do not listen to what God is saying, right? And this is, perhaps this is what you're being told as your conscience, right? Sometimes we feel like doing something, but there's something pricking us inside. The conscience tells us, "Don't do that," right? So this is what I mean, right? If you listen to that, if we tune in and listen to our mind, right, to what God is speaking to us in His own mysterious ways, there are often times that we will be told what is right, what is wrong, what I should be doing, what I should not be doing at this moment of time, right? And so if you observe these four simple things, in addition, of course, to doing your regular things like going for church regularly, going for your confessions, receiving the sacraments, following the 10 commandments and so on, but for every day, tomorrow you want to go and, go for a party, you can't pick up the Bible or you can't pick up the 10 commandments and start going through it and what does my religion say about this, right? So you need to have certain simple guidelines to live a good life. And therefore, my dear children, my message to you is follow these four simple things, all right? Love one another unconditionally, without any expectations, a real Catholic way, all right? Do not judge others, whatever may be the situation, however big the temptation is to judge them and give them, kind of your peace of mind. No, do not judge, right? And the third thing is live your life as if it can be a phenomenal and wonderful example to everybody around you, right? And lastly, keep your heart and mind and soul tuned perfectly well so that you could be receiving whatever messages are coming through you, directly or indirectly, from God, right, from Jesus. And with that, I will be bidding you best of luck, lovely life ahead. May God bless you abundantly always. You take care, my friend. You rock.